Hey, what's up, everybody? My name's Richard. This is actually my first video that I've ever done like this, so apologize in advance that the production quality is probably going to suck. But yeah, I'm starting a home project. I'm actually putting in closet doors in my basement, or at least I'm going to try. We'll see how it goes. Full disclosure, I'm not like an expert woodworker or anything. I'm a DIY guy. But I have fun figuring things out as I go. Watched a few of my own YouTube videos to try to figure out how to make the doors, and found some helpful ones, but didn't find the one that was showing exactly what I wanted to do. And I think I've kind of figured out how that needs to work now. I've actually got some router bits that I got off Amazon that I think will help me do a raised panel style door that I'm pretty excited about. But first step is I gotta get the wood prepped. And because I don't have a planer, I'm going to use my table saw to plane down the sides of some 2x6s. And that got me thinking, gosh, I really wish I could use my table saw in my garage without making a huge mess. Watched some more YouTube videos on dust collection, and so bought something on Amazon for like, $30. That I'm going to now try to install on my table saw. So figured I'd, warm up on my video production skills by showing how I'm going to do that for my table saw. And similarly to the door videos, I didn't find a video for making a dust collection system for this particular type of table saw that was sort of, easy enough for what I wanted. I saw some pretty more elaborate systems, which I'm sure work great, but are kind of overkill for my purposes. So I figured I'd just show what I've got planned, which I actually think will work pretty well, and I don't think will take a whole lot of effort. In fact, let me show the piece that I'm trying to install here. Here it is. Garage is a little messy. So I bought this 2-piece set just off of Amazon. Like I said, I think it was like, about $30 total for the 2 pieces. And let me take this out. Kind of show what I'm working with here. So this is my table saw. In fact, we're going to flip this around. This is my table saw. I flipped it on its side so I could see the underside here. So I'm basically just going to close off this space underneath. And I found this piece of Luan board here, which is about the right size, that I happen to have kicking around in my garage. So I'm going to use that, cut that to fit. And this is the stand that I've got for my table saw. So I think I can just set it up where it basically just sits on this frame, but inside the base here, so that it doesn't create an issue with my latching mechanism here. And I might even try to put in like a little screw here with a hole in the Luan board to kind of hold it in place, since obviously the table saw vibrates a lot and I don't want it to fall out middle of using the table saw. So that's the plan. Now my first thing that I was trying to figure out is how do I cut this board to fit precisely in this space, since the better the fit, obviously the smaller the amount of dust that I'll get. And I came up with, there's probably a better way to do this, but this is what I got. I'm going to use this butcher paper and just kind of tape that underneath. And then I grabbed one of my kids' crayons and I'm going to do an etching of the bottom side of this table saw, and then, transfer that over to the Luan board and just cut it out to precisely fit the shape that I need. So I'm going to stop there and kind of get set up, because I'm not good enough at this to make a video without some breaks in the middle to prep my video setup here. So more to follow. All right, so I think we're ready to go here. So let's see if I can turn this over. So I've got my butcher paper on the bottom of my table saw. We'll see if this works. Again, never done this before, so this could be a total bust, but let's see how we go. Kind of feel where the edge is there. Doesn't have to be perfect, but I do want to see if I can get the general shape of this, just to get as good of a fit as I can. And obviously, once I get the rough etching, I can look at the bottom of my table saw as I'm trying to get the shape drawn out onto the Luan board, so I can kind of extrapolate from my little crayon rubbing here how I want the board to fit. This will give me a pretty good start. Alright. It's looking pretty good. Alright, I think that's good enough. Yeah, I can definitely see a shape there. All right, let's see how that looks. All right, so I got my my rough outline there. Now I'm gonna cut this out and tape it onto my Luan board and draw the outline of this shape on my Luan board so I can then use a jigsaw. Oh, there's my face. Yeah, I'm a little tall, so I was getting off camera there. But I'm gonna use a jigsaw after I draw this outline onto my Luan board to cut that out. And then hopefully I'll have a good fit. All right. See you soon. All right, so here we go. I've got my cut out. It's not pretty, but it'll get the job done. So you can see I just kind of taped it on top of my Luan board. I put it on the edge so that I don't have to cut out quite as much. I'm gonna trace that and I'm gonna cut it out. All right, so we got our little Luan board piece cut out. See here, fits pretty nicely in there. It wasn't perfect the first time, so I had to make some adjustments and there's a few little gaps in there, but you know what? Enough. So we're gonna move on to the next step, which is gonna be take this little piece and we want this to go just about like that underneath. So I got to cut out a space and I actually want it to be not obviously the outside because then fall through. I want to use this little groove here and cut a square so that this can just sit right on top. I honestly don't even think I'm gonna like secure it. I think I'm just gonna make it so this can all come apart and then I can clean it and store it better. And then when I want to use it, I can just pop this little piece here right on my stand, pop this on top, and then set the table saw on top of it and be good to go. And have a nice little vacuum port attachment. So that's the plan. So on to the next step. Catch you guys in the next segment. All right, so we got our square cut out of the middle, looks like. So there it is, nice big hole that I could just plop this sucker into. And it's got this little lip on the edge, so it just sits there. Don't really even need to do anything more. And then I did try this already, it fits. It's a little bit fiddly just getting the thing on, but not that hard. Here, I'll show you what it looks like. Let's see if I can, where's my tripod? Clearly I am not prepared. All right, let's see. Alright. Oh, accidentally pushed the Gemini button. Alright, here we go. So, looks like this. Pop this sucker on here. Ease it in. And you can see here, can you see? Maybe you can see. It's kind of sitting right up on the edge. So I'm just going to tilt it up and give it a little bit of a jimmy. Boom. Now it's on. And I can close this in. Lock it into place. And there we go. You can see I've got this nice little vacuum port underneath. That space is pretty much sealed up. And then I can just attach my vacuum hose right there. So I'm going to try this out, but not right now because my son's birthday party in an hour, and if I'm not back in the house helping set things up, my wife won't be happy with me. So that's it for now, but you'll get to see this in action on the next video that I'm going to try to make, where I attempt to build closet doors for the basement. And the goal is to be able to do it in my garage here without making a huge mess, because now I've got the vacuum port attached, which I need, Got my router table, which conveniently already came with this vacuum port here. I got an adapter for my miter saw, so I can attach that to my shop vac. So I think I might actually have everything I need to keep from making a huge mess in here. So yeah, that's about it. I'd say like or subscribe, but I don't really have a channel yet. So if you like my video, give it a thumbs up or something and check out my next one. Okay, thanks everybody. Hope you all have a great weekend or whatever day it is.